It's another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're beginning a brand new month, looking at May 6, 1994. We got 6 movies to look at today, so let's not waste any more time. Let's just jump on into it, and we'll start off with the biggest new release of the weekend. I got to put that in quotation marks because this really was not that big of a release. It's the sequel to Three Ninjas, and that is Three Ninjas Kickback. Boy, TriStar really wanted to make a new Karate Kid series, didn't they? I mean, they took this from Disney. Disney didn't even want to make a sequel to this, and they tried to make their own. Well, I guess they kind of worked because they did make sequels after this movie came out. They went direct to video because this movie was not successful, and honestly, it was absolutely pointless. I mean, the first movie was tolerable for what it was, but to say that it's one of those movies that defined the '90s and have a lasting impact enough to have a sequel, I just don't see it. And I don't think a lot of people really saw it either because nobody went to go see this movie. It actually got lesser reviews than the first movie did, and nobody ever really talks about it, and that's probably for good reason because the movie's not really all that damn good. It's a movie that is just there, it just exists. Like, it's a movie that's there to try to start a new series, start a new franchise, and I guess it kind of worked, but only because I guess they think Three Ninjas is such a popular name that people will go out and see it, but not the case. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got for you on that one. Three Ninjas Kickback. So let's move on to the next movie, and that is Dana Carvey starring in Clean Slate. According to this movie's logic, dogs getting injured is funny. Apparently, I mean, why is that a running gag in this movie? And it just perfectly sums up everything that's kind of wrong with this movie. You know, Dana Carvey has not had the best type of success is when he makes movies like this outside of Wayne's World. I guess Mike Myers is kind of the same thing, but at least Mike Myers has franchises that have been successful. The Austin Powers movies, the Shrek movies, but what's Dana Carvey had outside of Wayne's World? Opportunity Knocks, this movie, The Master of Disguise. I mean, Dana Carvey can be really funny, but man, he picks some really bad scripts to star in. And there's a good idea here, but just not a good execution. Everybody in this movie is kind of stupid, and the whole running gag about the dog, who's got like an eye patch, and he's like always getting injured. Like, why is that funny? Why is that something that needs to be a running gag in a movie? But it just doesn't work. It's a movie that's trying way too hard to make you laugh. It's throwing whatever they can to the wall, and nothing is really sticking in the end. It's a movie that really wastes a lot of good talent, wastes a lot of potential with Dana Carvey as the star, and a pretty good premise that could work under the right script, but it just doesn't work. It's a movie that's really too stupid for its own good. It's a movie that's so stupid. Everybody in here is way too stupid to be in this, and it just doesn't work. It's a movie that's just a mess on so many levels. It's a movie that's easily forgettable, maybe quicker than what Dana Carvey has to go through every single day in this movie. So that's Clean Slate. Let's move on to the next movie, and that is Robin Williams in Being Human. Again, kind of like with Clean Slate, there is a good idea here. There's a really good premise to be told here. You got Robin Williams playing the same character in 5 different generations. Like, he's a caveman in one segment. He's someone from ancient Rome in another segment. He's a Scottish Crusader in another one. He's a Portuguese man in another incarnation, and he's a modern man in New York. And there are good ideas here, but just the execution of it just doesn't really work. I think this is one of those movies that really has a good idea, good ambition to it, but just wrong execution. I think the fact that the movie is deliberately slow in its pace could work if you had the right mindset to it, but it just doesn't work out in the way that I think they wanted it to work. And I think Warner Brothers themselves actually got into it. This might have been one of those movies with studio interference where they basically told the director, you got to trim 40 minutes from this, you got to add narration, you got to add a happy ending to it because we don't want sad endings. Apparently, which is so not the case. But whatever. And look at the end result. It was a huge failure at the box office. It only made $5 million back from its $40 million budget. It's a movie that just wasn't it wasn't in the right mindset. It was a movie that has good ideas, a good chance for Robin Williams to really expand his acting abilities, but it just didn't work in the end. It's a movie that really needed a fresher script, and maybe if we'd seen the original cut, maybe this stuff would have made a whole lot more sense, but we can't find that stuff out there, so we're stuck with the version that was released in theaters, and the version that's released in theaters is just not very good. It's not a very good film. It's one of Robin Williams' biggest disappointments as a leading actor, and he's had a couple of them, as we'll get into as the rest of the 90s goes on, but yeah, Being Human just wasn't the success I think they wanted it to be, so that's Being Human. So let's move on to the next movie, James Spader and Matchin' and Mick in Dream Lover. I mean, I've heard Siskel and Ebert talk about how much they like this movie, but when I actually saw the movie later on down the road, I didn't really think there was a whole lot there that really was all that exciting. In fact, quite honestly, I think you can kind of predict everything that's going to happen in this movie. It's one of those movies where, you got two really good actors in here, James Spader, Matchin' and Mick. They're very good actresses. They're actors. They play off each other very well. Their chemistry is very good. But the mystery aspect is really what kills it, because, like I said, you could pretty much figure out everything that's going to happen in this movie. It feels like a Lifetime movie of the week. And this was intended to be released on a big screen, and I honestly don't think that they really thought about actually making this stand out on its own. They just wanted to get these two leading actors as the stars and just sell it off of that. Who cares how weak the mystery is? And they're not even hiding the fact that the mystery is very weak in here. Like I said, it's pretty much a given that you can pretty much tell how this is going to end up, and it just doesn't work. It's a movie that really just misses the mark big time, wastes some really good actors, and I don't know. I just don't think it worked for me. It may have worked for some people, but not for me personally. So, with that said, on to the next movie, and That's Entertainment 3. If you're not too familiar with the That's Entertainment series, basically these are movies that basically show some of the greatest movie musical moments of all time, from the golden age of the movie musicals, like the 1930s, the 40s, the 50s. And they actually did another film in the 80s called That's Dancing, which is basically showing off classic dance movie moments from like different films from not just back then, but also of the 70s and 80s. These are movies that usually we've seen a lot of these type of movies in the past, like stuff like Terror in the Aisles, where they take clips from various movies and put them together into one movie, just basically to show off great movie moments. I know there's another one, It Came from Hollywood, which looked at like 50s sci-fi movies and stuff like this. Well, with this movie in particular, to try to get people to come into it, they actually added in some stuff that was not included in other movies. Like this is stuff that was cut from MGM musicals. I think there's alternate versions of different things. There's scenes that were entirely cut out, like Debbie Reynolds singing You Are My Lucky Star from Singing in the Rain. There's a lot of stuff with Ava Gardner, Elvis Presley, Lena Horne, Joan Crawford. A lot of moments that were cut from various movies all put into this particular film to kind of give it little bit of a boost over the other movies in the series, which the movies overall are a ton of fun to watch if you want to see some great movie musical moments. And I like the hook that they have in this particular movie, to see this footage that has been lost for several years was found, and they decided to put it into this movie to kind of bring people back into it. I thought it was an overall enjoyable film. I kind of wish we get to see more of these type of movies where you have like these movies that are basically clip movies, like kind of like, let's show off some great movie moments. I think you could do a lot with a lot of the movies that have come out over the last couple of decades. I think there's a lot there you could do with it. I just don't know if there would be a full-on audience for it. It would strictly be for movie lovers in particular. And for movie lovers like me, these movies are a ton of fun. I really recommend That's Entertainment 3 and most of the other That's Entertainment movies and That's Dancing. You can usually get them in like their own DVD and Blu-ray sets. Can't recommend it enough. It's a wonderful series of films. Definitely check it out if you want to see some great movie musical moments from the past. So That's Entertainment 3. Now let's move on to the last movie, and that is La Scotta. Of course, La Scorta is Italian for the escort, and basically the premise of this is that a dedicated, tightly knit group of bodyguards take on additional duties while safeguarding an honest judge designated to investigate official corruption in Sicily. It's basically a crime thriller set in Italy, Sicily, Italy. That's all I pretty much know about this movie, because honestly, I have never seen this movie, and it's a movie that I think, I mean, it looks pretty good. I mean, it could be pretty interesting. I haven't heard a lot of people really say anything about it, but the trailer definitely showed a lot of promise to it. There's a lot more dialogue in that trailer that I didn't get to show you, but yeah, definitely could be something interesting. Not something I'm going to rush out to see right away, but like I said, I haven't seen it, can't really comment on it, but I can acknowledge that it came out this weekend, so there you go, The Escort. And so on that note, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies. We'll delve into 5 movies next time around, including The Crow, which was Brandon Lee in one of his last movies. I think it was his last movie. We'll delve into the history of that film. Spike Lee's Crooklyn. We'll also look at A Million to One, Widow's Peak, and also Trading Mom. So 5 movies to look at next time around, and we'll do that on the next episode. But until then, thank you very much for watching, and if you want to see more videos like this, please hit the playlist on the next page, check out the previous episode, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for another episode. So thank you for watching. I'll see you next time, and until then, as always, take care.